Hello and welcome back to another Overwatch VOD review, Scorch24, and today we're going to be taking a look at some Hammond gameplay on Dorado. We are at the Silver rank, and the VOD review itself is pretty long, almost 25 minutes, so I'm going to do my best to kind of keep it concise and digestible for everyone involved. So, without any further ado, let's get underway here. So out of the gate, our Ana dies, which is kind of unfortunate. So let's just watch how this first engagement goes. Alright. So I ended up watching both of the VODs that you ended up sending to me. By the way, we're watching Wolf here. He submitted his VOD through Reddit using the replay system codes. So we are watching this through the replay system, which is actually really nice because now I can record in full 2K. So right now, not a lot is happening. They're getting some cart progress, but the carts only just arrived at the choke after about a minute. So really not much is happening in terms of gameplay. One thing that I do notice a lot in both VODs that you sent to me were just this shakiness with your mouse. I don't know if that's just nerves in competitive or if it's your DPI is just a little too high. I could go over some of my own mouse settings if you want, but we can handle that outside of the VOD review itself. All right, so let's take a look at uh, what happened during this. I guess we'll call this like the first official engagement as the enemy team moves through choke. So as Hammond, our goal is to provide um, chaos for the enemy team by displacing team movement. Your value in a lot of oppressive Hammonds that I've personally gone against are the ones that utilize their hook and their their pushback um, to separate the enemy team or move them away from the objective to allow our teammates times to get one or two crucial picks. So as you can see here, the cart is stopping you because you know Hammond's just so goddamn thick. Um, you're not getting that full swing, which is also charging your ultimate the more people that you charge through. So here we had the Rhine separated. We could have turned on him, but we kind of focused on the monkey that was in the back line, and their dive allowed or caused your team to become separated, which is what crumpled that fight. Unfortunately, I don't think there's enough time here to contest. Kind of missed the engagement there. You don't need the ult charge anymore, so probably at best just backed out and regroup with your team. Luckily you do. No one dies, so that's really good. Really good mechanics here, getting up to that high ground very quickly. Interesting that the Winston uses his ult here. But this is good. I mean, you're kind of... You should be able to kill him. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Before dropping down here, I probably would have... So we get the kill here. So instead of dropping down, notice how the enemy team is still so far away. So... Oh, I guess my cursor goes away if I do that. So instead of dropping down here, exposing yourself to 1, 2, 3, 4 damage dealers with a Zen Orb that's probably going to be on you in about 2 seconds, continue your path up here, then drop down. One thing that you'll notice in a little bit is that you end up using Hammond effectively when you're getting these key picks. But right now, you're going to end up feeding yourself and taking a lot of damage. So just keep that in mind when you're going in for engagements and you're regrouping. I know maybe you were trying to think to save your Ana, but if you stayed hidden for a little bit longer, you could have gone into this fight with a lot more HP, gotten one pick on the Zenyatta, or maybe even the Moira. Um, and just had a better disengage as well. We didn't use our shield there, but that's okay. We didn't quite need it. Good knock of that Ryan into your mines. Great pick onto the Zen here. See, so like these are really good engagements that you want to try to be looking for every single time. Now, close quarters isn't Hammond's favorite spot, especially against a fire like that. So I probably would have waited until the whole team was going to engage on that. One thing I don't like about the replay system is that we're not hearing any callouts. So unfortunately, I can't hear if you are making these callouts and what your team is planning. So I just have to go off of what I'm seeing. That monkey's low. But we're going to get a good pick on the Zen. Like, that is exactly what you'll be doing. And look at your adaptive shield. You didn't have to back out there because adaptive shield lasts for, I think, about 6 seconds. So you could have stayed there a little bit longer, tanked some damage without needing to go back quite yet. I think you could have stayed back there. The entire enemy team was pushing forward, and you could have just been stalling cart in the back. Good escape from the Moira. And great job allowing your supports to heal you up. I don't know why that Moira is not healing you, but it's alright. Your Reaper's gonna get cut off. Yeah, and you're already almost, like, you just used your ultimate in the last fight, and you're already almost up to a new one. So here you're using Hammond like very well and effective, being just oppressive onto the supports and separating the tanks from their support line. Now for everybody else who's watching, while this tank gameplay is in silver, Wolf's actual role is support, and he's almost plat in that one. So you can tell he understands the game at its core, with like the ebb and the flow of fights and when to go and when to not. However, we need to find where those tank mechanics can come in to get him up to that gold rank and above. Okay, so this is a really good fight that I'm gonna take a look back at as soon as it ends. Okay. Oof, that aim. Alright. Smashed. Let's take a look back here. I think a little bit longer. Okay, so we get an initial pick on this fight. That's awesome. That means that we are not only up in alt economy, we're up in people as well. So, where should we go from here? Ryan's about to charge in. We have most of the enemy team on the cart. Our Moira does die, unfortunately, but Anna's sitting pretty far back. That she should be able to provide a lot of healing. Now, the Reaper's over here on the left. He's going to need to either take a long walk over to your support to kill her, or he will have to use his cooldown, which as soon as you see that, your Sigma should be able to take care of it. So I'm going to probably recommend not going for the Reaper here, but instead focusing the enemy team that's on the card. Sure, the Reinhardt's here. You've just used your adaptive shield, so you're not going to have as much shielding going into this as you could, but your Ana could still be providing you with a good amount of healing. Your job during this moment here, when you're at an even trade, is to wait for a bad positioning, someone to get low health enough that you can either pile drive them or you can simply pick them. You do have your ultimate here, so you could also engage with your ultimate on cart to force the enemy team to split up. If the monkey stays where he is when you ultimate, he'll have to back up, use his jump to either get, past the mines or on top here. And you can you can confuse the support line as well. The Zenyatta might try to move one way or the other and get killed by the mines by the time they activate, and their Moira won't be able to do anything about it. So there's a couple things that you could be focusing here better, and that's not the Reaper. The Reaper has a lot of health gain still, even with his nerf like a month or two back. But you will not be able to chunk him down fast enough, and you're just providing him with a lot of healing because all of those uh, shotgun pellets are going to be able to heal him. So just keep that in mind next time when you go into these one-on-one engagements. You're looking for the person that you can kill quickly and effectively. Alright, so we do use our ultimate. That's a great job. That Zen was low. You could have come out of your ball form and killed him quickly. The Moira's not even looking at him, so that would have been a really nice pick on your side. And then you end up focusing the Reaper instead. In cases when you're so close to the end of the point, I know you go for a pile driver, but it ends up taking a little too long to get down. So when you're so close and you can't risk getting off point, I'd probably just recommend spinning at that point.
Surrender to my will.
You could have stayed there longer. You were full health. You could have jumped out a ball there. Generally when you go for these kind of hits and the enemy team member is so low that like a punch or something could kill them, you need to take that opportunity, especially when you're full health like you are. Your adaptive shield's almost up, so this could have been a really easy pick for you that could have changed this fight in your favor. You may be down in ult economy, but you're not down by much. If the enemy team decides to commit ultimates into this fight, that's going to be a lot of resources gone, and you have Ana to protect it. You have Sigma's left shift that he could probably use, your ultimate as well that could prevent the enemy team from engaging. So there's a lot of the counterplay that could have happened here, and by the time they get their ultimates out and you get your ultimate out, like your Hanzo and your Sigma could have their ultimates, and at that point it's kind of hard to predict that far into the future. But you were at a pretty even fight. So if you had gotten that one pick, you would have changed the fight in your favor. Good job using your ultimate on your team. This prevented the enemy team from really engaging. However, it just wasn't quite enough. But that is just kind of because of teamwork. It's not anything of your fault specifically. Careful of the trap. Yeah, nice job. Yeah, good job getting that Zen down. Oh, you should have slammed onto him. You push, slam, pop him up, take a few shots on him, he's dead. But unfortunately, he will live. Oh, and you get caught into this room with a Mei. Interesting, you got out. Oh, that Zen should die. Nice job. Yep, great job. So, even though the enemy team has, like, let's see, They have May. They have Junkrat. Yeah, so like only two solid, I wouldn't say solid counters, but like two good counters to you. You're able to get in and out because you have Hammond's mobility down pretty pat. Like I could tell from the way you take these swings and the way that you handle a lot of your engagements that you understand the mechanics of the hero pretty well. So that's a really good sign. Yep, great job, great job. See, those engagements are what you want to be looking for every single time, especially when the enemy team has a Zenyatta. You can also do that with like Lucio's and Ana's. But with Ana's, you want to kind of make sure that they don't have their sleep available. Again, maybe just a little lowering that DPI or your sensitivity just a little bit, not too much, because you don't want to totally wreck what you've already learned through muscle memory. Good job coming back to protect your team. You will have to somehow take care of that Junkrat. Yeah. So right now the enemy team is just, they're kind of feeding. They're contesting point, which is good on stalling the card, but what you've done essentially is caused a series of picks that end up staggering the enemy team. Most of these kills have been on you specifically or with your help. So this is the power of Hammond in its at its core. So now the enemy teams finally realize that they have to group up. But you're using your grapple really well to prevent them from being able to get back onto the point. And sometimes that's all you need to do as Hammond. If the enemy team doesn't have a Reinhardt and they just have a comp that can be knocked back really easily, sometimes all you need to do is just keep pushing them back, and allowing your supports to heal you up. You could have pushed in a lot harder onto that Reinhardt. He was alone there. Oh, they pulled out a Symmetra. Okay. And a Hog. So they're really mad at you right now. So the enemy team has recognized that you're a problem, and they're gonna try to counter you. See if you get a good kickoff. Okay, not bad. You separated the Moira. Forced her to use a cooldown. Nice job. You know, you pushed her back, that was good. And your team follows up. I'll use that in the wrong spot. That's dangerous. Yeah, so in cases where, you know, the Rhine is using his hammer, maybe that's when you could use your mines. Might be a little bit of a better situation overall. Yeah, but this is just a really solid stagger on the enemy team's part. Great. So your attack was very strong, and it shows in the time bank that you guys have. So try to find ways to bring that energy when you're attacking to your defense, because the only difference on attack and defense with Hammond is that you're not moving the cart, right? Your goal is to stop the cart. So it's okay to engage and be in the enemy backline, kind of like how you were on attack, and looking for those picks. I don't know where I was going with that, but just apply the same kind of mentality on attack that you have on attack to your defense. So now you know that the enemy team is going to be trying to counter you in some way. This starts coming into the idea of, Do I swap? Do I stay? Am I able to stay? Am I going to be effective if I do? Um, Obviously, you're not going to know that until you see the enemy team for the first time. And I don't know which other heroes you're comfortable on. Maybe your only other comfortable hero is Sigma, so not much we can do there unless your Sigma were to swap. Let's see how this rolls out. No pun intended. Okay, so did you? Yeah, you heard him. Great job. Probably didn't need that shield just yet. You have quite a bit of support on you. Great job by your team to turn around and kill this guy. And then this is gonna be a good swing. You could have swung into them, maybe cause a little bit more disruption into what they were trying to set up for. Because with the Bastion now, your goal is to really make sure that the enemy team doesn't have the ability to group up. You should... Yeah, you didn't really have your adapt. Nice. So it's just another one of those cases where there were moments wherein you swung in and you could have pile drive and then come out of your form and gotten a pick, and then rolled back out. Maybe you work on your rollouts themselves a little bit more. But like that swing was really good, and if you had more teammates there, they probably could have capitalized on it. If nothing else, you forced the Zen to use his ultimate when he didn't actually need to use it, and that's really good. Yeah. Oh, you almost got this pick. You should be finishing off the Zen. Like Zen needs to die. Great job. Then the Moira. Like the Moira should be the next pick. So. Good knock up to kill this Moira. Ah, that's unfortunate that you got off guard. Could have won that. Kill the Junkrat, please. Oh, that's unfortunate. No problem with you stalling with the cart there. That was a really smart idea. Forces the enemy team to take longer time to push to the next fight, wherever that may be.
Stop the payload.
Okay, your Reaper's feeding. It's unfortunate. Good job protecting your Ana. You can swing and pile drive into this dude. Ah, messed it up. Okay, so actually not a good idea. So your goal is to find out when to use your ultimate next. I don't think that's going to be right now. You recognize that as well. That's good. Reaper's going in. That's a tough call. I mean, your team was kind of coming back, but they had all 6, even with your ultimate and your shield. I don't think it would have been enough to survive, and you just would have been staggered longer. So, I respect the call on your side. Okay, so let's back up. So before you go into your pile driver, you should actually be using your ultimate at the highest point, whatever the apex of your arch is, because it's going to force those bombs to spread out even wider. With a wider spread on your bombs, it's going to likely catch more people off, and it's going to be harder for them to clear the bombs in general. Like a hog, or let's see, what do they have? They have a Junkrat. So with one of Junkrat's mines, he can blow up about, I want to say like a 40% or even 50% of the total mines that are produced by Hammond with just one of his mines. So instead, at the top of your swing, use your ultimate. That will deploy quickly. Then use your pile driver, which will lift you up a little bit into the air as you do so during the windup, and then come down. This will allow your bombs to have time to activate while the enemy team is knocked up into the air. They have no mobility while they're knocked up into the air. And then when they come down, they're going to have to walk either into some mines or attempt to clear mines, which allows your team more time to kill them while they're stuck in between all your mines. So that's what you really want to get better with Hammond's ultimate. Yeah. Good spin to win. You're just causing a lot of chaos and a lot of damage that the enemy team just has to deal with. Nice. And you end up forcing them off the cart. Now, one thing to keep in mind for like counterplay and stuff, use your ultimate when Zenyatta doesn't have his ult. Use your ultimate when the Rhine shield is low, so Reinhardt can't go walking through your mines and clearing them. As well as Lucio beat. If Lucio uses his beat when you use your mine, him and his team can just walk into the mines and clear them out. All right. So we're swapping over to the tried and true pirate ship. One of the things I noticed about pirate ship on Dorado specifically is that it's kind of difficult. You have, unlike Junkertown, where a majority of the map is either flat or downhill. Here, a majority of Dorado is uphill, and that can be difficult, especially with how the payload is designed. So you'll just have to play a little bit more carefully as you do this. Impressive res by your Mercy. Okay, so during this mid fight, both sides have picks on DPS. That's a really good thing for you guys. Because it's going to take the defenders a lot longer to get back. So these two people in front of you, it's a good idea that you're applying pressure, forcing them to fall back a little bit more. However, they have two people to your top right, one of which who has no mobility abilities. So if you use your pull, which you have up right now, you can see in the bottom right there. If you use your pull on that high ground to get the Zenyatta to fall off onto the cart, your entire team will be able to kill him in an instant. This will force the Junkrat to back off. It'll force the Roadhog and the Moira to run away because they just don't have the same amount of pressure or healing that they would if they had that Zenyatta. So these are the picks that you want to be looking for as Orisa when it comes to misplacing the enemy team. You could have also pulled the Junkrat off, however, he does have his mines, so unless you are a pro and are counting mines, like, no problem. Probably going to be more difficult. Okay. So I'm not a big fan of this walk forward. Sure, you're moving with the cart, but you're not moving with the fight. So what I mean by you moving past where the fight is, right now you have the Roadhog to your left, and you have two people who are kind of far in front of you. If you place your shield in front, it's going to die immediately to the Junkrat. However, if you place your shield to the left, you have a little bit more time to deal with the Roadhog by himself. So this includes using your, well, you just used the pull on the Junkrat, which could have been used better on this hog here. If you had just joined your Reinhardt on the left side, you probably could have gotten this pick first before moving around either with the cart forward or around this stand to the left. to deal with Reinhardt or Junkrat.
Halt! Stop right there.
Good fallback. I'm sure that was a call on your team that the Reaper was behind. That Zenyatta is still above you, so you guys got to find a way to get him off because he's just dealing damage, no problem. Looks like your Reaper's going to take care of him. He does. Great job on your Reaper. And that there's still that fight going on to your left. Your Reinhardt does kill the Roadhog. And looks like you guys ended up winning. So, really good job. A little scuffed, but overall, the win is there. Use your pull here, because that Zenyatta, there's two people there. You could have pulled them. Shot a lot of damage with your supercharger. Gotten some kills a little bit sooner. Force a longer respawn time and stagger on the enemy side. Pulling that dude up would help out a bit. Yeah.
Victory.
So that last fight, not much was really happening. I think it's just the same concepts that we were talking about before, where using your pull to get people off the high ground, focusing down targets when you can, especially with your pull as Orisa. But that tank gameplay is just always going to be about dictating where the fight is. In your favor. You don't want to go to a spot where the enemy team wants you to fight. You want to pull them to the spot that you want to fight. So if that's off the payload, it's off the payload. You have some time. If you're in overtime like you were at the second stage of Dorado, have a dedicated person on cart. It could be you, it could be a support, but just never venture too far because you don't want the case of maybe a support dying off or whoever's on cart dying, and then take over time, takes down, lose. So that's going to be a little bit more higher level as you go into gold as tank and into plat in all your roles. So just keep that in mind and definitely watch a little bit more about how pros use these characters to their best advantage and try to incorporate just some of the techniques that they use with yourself, and you'll see improvement, no problem. As I said before in this video, like, your mechanics are really good. You understand the game, the flow of it, but it's getting to that next level of dictating where the fights are going to be and focusing down those crucial picks that will really boost you into plat and above. That's going to take care of it for today's video. If you like what you saw, please make sure to like and subscribe. I put out a new VOD review every Monday. And if you'd like to get your own VOD reviewed, check out the link in the description for details on our Discord page. Score24, and we'll see you next time.